Hi, my name is Kate Usay, CEO of Trust Your Heart Mindful Self-Compassion Supervision and the Intentional Career by Design program. And I'm here today with Jenny Woodworth, a social worker and now Director of Programs with Courage to Caregivers. It was a pleasure to watch Jenny literally grow this program from its very beginnings when she was with our supervision group. So Jenny, why don't we just start with who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kate, for this opportunity to talk about my experiences in supervision with you. I've been a social worker for a long time. I got my bachelor's of social work in 1999 and completed my supervision with Kate fall of 2020. So it's been a journey for me. I've been a social worker for a lot of my life and now have again, as Kate mentioned, the great pleasure of being director of programs for a small nonprofit, which now has some national reach. Thank you, pandemic. And we have a small staff, and I am one of the only social workers kind of in our administrative staff. Well, actually the only in our administrative staff. We have some direct care folks. So that's been my experience. Currently, I've had a lot of interesting social work jobs, and this has been my last, I'd say 5 years I've been working this position.
Well, what was going on for you professionally that drove you to seek supervision in 2019?
Well, again, I'd spent a lot of time as a social worker, and I knew I'd been waiting kind of for this next step. And there are a couple of reasons. Professionally, I was, again, kind of I was the only social worker, and I missed that camaraderie of having other people. Again, I love who I work with. It's no shade to those folks, but social workers are special. I say that all the time. And I missed the camaraderie. And I knew having a group supervision that would really be helpful and supportive to me, and also would help me, bounce ideas off of other people who were like-minded. So that's one of my main reasons. And again, it was a professional and personal goal for me. I had finally had children, settled down into a career that I was like, I think this is time. I think I have the mental space to do this. So that was something that's happening for me personally as well.
Did you know what kind of experience you were looking for when you were looking for supervision?
Well, spoiler alert, I had Kate as a professor once, so I kind of knew what I was getting myself into in an amazing way. Again, I knew I needed that cohort. I needed that group. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be around other social workers, not necessarily who were even doing the same thing as I was, but again, people that had experiences that we could either groan with, clap for, all of those things. I was looking for that. I also, since I knew Kate as a professor, I knew she would have a mindfulness base, and I knew that was part of something that I was looking for. Something I know, Kate, that you really emphasized while I was in supervision was that, hey, you've got to have a practice, otherwise you're going to lose your stuff. You've got to have a practice to keep yourself together. And I knew that was something that if I had a group and had a supervisor that emphasized those skills, that I'd be way more likely to do them. So that was important to me.
Great. Well, what insights do you really think you gained, and what kind of personal and professional results do you now have as a result of completing your supervision?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I still feel such tremendous pride when I get to tell people I'm a licensed independent social worker. I don't know whether that's ever going to get old. It was such a journey. And I have not made a lot of upward movement in my personal career. I know that many folks seek it because of that, but to me, it's just feels I'm so prideful that I could have this new independent status. And I really feel like I already thought the social workers could do anything, meaning like we have a whole oyster of a world open to us, if that makes sense. But once I got that I was like, yeah, I can do so many things with this. And again, I feel pretty good about where I am right now professionally, but having that opportunity, that idea that I could do many, many things now that I have that I is super important to me. Personally, like I mentioned, having a mindfulness practice was really cemented during supervision, and that helps me both as a parent, as a human, as a spouse, all of those things. And that really has been a personal result of having this, pretty intensive long-term experience of being in supervision.
I'm so glad that you had that experience. So what would you tell Ohio LSWs who are thinking about supervision, but for whatever reason, they're holding themselves back?
Well, I'd say do it. I would say, I think one thing I really loved about my experience with you, Kate, is that you were so flexible, meaning I did take more time than the 2 years to do this. So if something like that's holding you back, I think that can be helpful to be like, this is your path, your journey. And I think that's something you really have embodied both in your personal and professional life, and that this can be an experience that takes what it takes and that you're going to support them throughout that. So if that makes sense, kind of that like flexibility is there. It isn't this like, okay, 2 years and you're out of here. It's more like, okay, well, you got to take tonight off because you got a kids play or you've got, you're sick. Don't drag yourself to, supervision. That really like compassion, that self-compassion that you portray and that you encourage the rest of us to. I mean, I think it's an amazing place to experience that self-compassion as well. So having your social work cohort, it can't be denied. It's an amazing, amazing thing. So I would encourage anyone to give this a shot.
Oh, Jenny, I have to thank you so much for sharing your experience today. It is a gift to call you a colleague and have the opportunity to provide support in any way you need in the future. Thank you so much for coming on today. I greatly appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Kate.
Take care.